So Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes, who is currently on trial for wire fraud, and who, by the way, is also not me, despite what some of you say in the comments. Apparently she trained herself to make her voice lower. I wouldn't even know how to do that if I tried.
As a way to undercut misogyny and generate more credibility in a misogynistic world? Was that her thinking?
I don't know. It doesn't, I don't know. Well,
that's right. That's not her real voice. That's right. God, she's... I remember that from somewhere, yes.
It's hard to keep track of.
It's a put on.
This is, though, my real voice, I promise. I promise. Well, so she allegedly fooled now former Education Secretary Betsy DeVos into investing nearly $100 million in a biotech startup, that would be Theranos. On Tuesday, Lisa Peterson, a director of the billionaire's family office, told jurors that she and members of the DeVos dynasty flew to Silicon Valley in 2014 to meet Holmes and Ramesh Sunny Balwani, the company's former president and Holmes's ex-boyfriend. Peterson testified that Holmes was, quote, hand-picking ultra-wealthy families to invest in the company, which claimed its portable blood testing devices could screen for a myriad of diseases with just the prick of a patient's finger. Technology that federal prosecutors are arguing Holmes and Balwani knew did not work as advertised. So the DeVos family is correct here that they were far from alone. There were a lot of very powerful and wealthy people who were tied up in this, and actually some of whom were bringing other powerful and wealthy people into the fold. It's a good sort of statement on just how slippery Elizabeth Holmes was, and also just how eager I think a lot of people with tons of money are to, how easily they can be sort of bought as well.
Right, and also a lot of these people with big money might even know that the thing is a scam. Like people who get involved in MLM schemes or in pyramid schemes often know it's a pyramid scheme, but they often think they're going to be the ones that get out ahead of time. The fact that it's a...
Well, and they can be.
Scheme. Right, so I'm sure some people did make money on Theranos getting in early and then getting out before the whole thing blew up. People have looked at this through a gender lens and asked whether a male CEO would have faced the same type of prosecution as a result of this. I think, I'm curious for your take though, I think where she went wrong is by getting into the real world. Like she got into people's lives just by doing blood tests. If you stick to tech that just exists in the clouds, either the actual cloud or metaphorical clouds, then you can run a scam, your company can be bogus, but as long as you didn't kill anybody, they're going to let you continue to defraud people until the end of time. Yeah. But once you start getting into the healthcare business and saying that you're going to test somebody for whether or not they're pregnant, whether or not they have these whatever serious questions they have that they need answered by this blood test, and you give them bogus results, then I think people are going to be like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I also think, though, that Elizabeth Holmes was very eagerly accepting the branding of girl boss feminism that the corporate media was giving her. And that's also, I think, where this went very wrong, in that the media sort of felt betrayed and elites felt betrayed because they thought they were supporting a hashtag girl boss. It wasn't just that they were supporting this new technology. It was that they were supporting the new technology from a hashtag girl boss. And I think when that crumbled, it made it it made it even more juicy and more like red meat for the media to come and sort of undercut her, because there's a storyline to that now too. And so, yeah, I mean, I think if anything, she got great treatment because of her sex, and then is now getting it tougher because she exploited that or played on it.
And it makes her defense extraordinarily ironic, because the defense that she's leading with is that she was actually manipulated by her boyfriend, Sunny Balwani. Like, that's her claim.
Yeah.
Maybe it's true.
It may be true.
But it's not very girl bossy.
It's not very girl bossy. It's not going to advance the feminist cause. But that's really just full circle for Elizabeth Holmes, someone who, again, was eagerly given that branding. And I think that does explain some of the capital that went into this. Again, this technology, if it did what she said it was going to do, would be amazing and game changing. And I honestly have a hard time blaming a lot of people who invest in a lot of things for putting their money there, even though, you should monitor all of that better. And I'm sure they all will now, all of their donations, but they give money to a lot of places. This technology is huge. She seemed credible. She's coming from Stanford. And there's other powerful people sucking you into it, secretaries of state. So,
bunch of military people.
Right.
What ultimately makes the thing so mockable and then ultimately risible, though, is that if these investors who are putting millions in talk to any blood testing experts, they'd be like, that's impossible.
Exactly.
Like, you can't do that many tests on a pinprick, and here's why.
Yeah.
And one of the obvious reasons that just a little pinprick infects the sample with what was pressed in, the little skin that was pressed in. And so you can do some tests on that, but you're destroying the drops as you're doing the tests. And so how then are you going to be able to do all of these 20, 30, 40, 50 tests that they claim? So the blood test experts who've talked about this are like, it's just against the laws of chemistry and biology and physics for this to be possible.
Well, and that's why I think Elizabeth Holmes' defense that she was manipulated by her ex-boyfriend, and there are some really interesting allegations, and there's some really interesting stories from Theranos about their relationship. That defense falls apart because Elizabeth Holmes isn't dumb enough to know that stuff, like to not know that that's true. And even if she is dumb enough, her entire product, it's pretty easy to like look into it, as you just said, to talk to experts and say, yeah, no, no. And so I don't think it's a good defense, and I do think that if anything, rather than her being sort of a victim of misogyny, she sort of exploited our good faith sort of opposition to misogyny, and is now worsening it by furthering a stereotype.
Right, and she basically relied on the Silicon Valley religion that no does not exist, that there are no limits.
Yeah.
And there are no physical limits. The only limit is your cliches.
Right. It is a religion of cliches. Yeah. Oh, Elizabeth Holmes. I'm actually enjoying watching this trial play out because I think it's bringing in a lot of interesting layers and dynamics about our sort of like sexual politics and about the Silicon Valley politics. So I'm eager to continue following
I'm listening to the podcast, following along with it. It's
good.
It's interesting.
It is.
Is she going to get convicted?
Oh, good question. Yes.
Yeah.
I say yes. What do you think?
Probably. Yeah.
But please don't keep this clip and use it against
Well, we'll say
us.
the opposite in a different clip so that we can then highlight it no matter what happens.
I like that. Okay. Good strategy, right?
There you go. All right, we will have more Rising right after this.